How's it going? Fucking great. Hey, I'm telling you, you are doing fucking great. I'm just sending that your way. Because I'm doing fucking great too. So it's just exchange. Alright, this is something that came up recently via a discussion with... Small little discussion that we had in a video from the Quantum Chosen One podcast with Mark Houghton and Sunny. And it was an interesting thing that picked up my curiosity when Sunny spoke about having flashes of, you know, accidents when she was riding a motorcycle. And my brain kind of went like, wait, I had similar things, you know, flashes of, oh, if I turn a corner, I might get hit by a car or something like that. And it's just a very, very fast visual flash, okay? It's not all the time, but it does happen. And I was starting to ponder, what the fuck? I'm not the only one that gets that. And I recall a prior friend of mine having similar things. I just, again, wasn't into this material to understand this completely. So I started wondering, okay, so seeing we're not born with memories, we're not born with words, with all of that. Remember, point zero. Where and how can we get that? And yes, there's the aspect of having actual accidents. Okay, that's one factor, but never really got hit by a car. I had 2 near misses, but I never got hit by a car. There is the grain of salt past life. Potentially all interconnected via soul, but not to that extent. I haven't really seen it impact that way, and not really that consistently. And again, grain of salt, right? But then something kind of came up and became a tad bit more obvious, and this just blew my fucking mind when I was able to kind of connect the dots with this. And it's dun 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 dun, media. Television, television, television. Repetition's a bitch, but what I'm gonna try to phrase out is there's a complexity to it, yet you'll get it. You'll fucking get it, okay? Just roll with me on this, with the complexity, and I'll simplify it as we go along, because that's the fucking process. Some people just want quick, fast answer, quick, fast, and they won't do the research, they won't practice, they won't do the exercise, but there is a value to taking time and understanding concepts and practicing. So let's roll. So we as humans have empathy with each other. So if I see you hitting your knee or just falling, if I see you, then I'm gonna, you know, I'm just gonna go, ugh, you know. But if I hear you falling and I don't see you, I'm not gonna have that reaction, because I'm not gonna feel the impact. I'm just gonna be aware, oh, someone fell, okay. But if I see you, or another good example, smiling baby, you know, the baby just comes up and you're like, oh, and it smiles and you transpose, you know. Or people that are in ecstasy, you know, that are just having fun, that are joyful. Well, the smile transfers because you feel it too. Now, the same applies to media. To the degree that you are focused and that your attention is grabbed on what is being presented. So, as I spoke about prior, and I did tell you guys, you're following, it's like your consciousness, when you're focusing on movies, video games, or any kind of media, your consciousness goes into the character, the main character. As you're following that main character, you are following this character's journey as them. You know, you're kind of transposing through that continuous look at their adventures. And then when something happens, a big impact, you know, you're like, ooh, you know, who watched Game of Thrones? Red Wedding. Or, surprise, Arya, stab, you know? Like, those moments you kind of go, whoa, yo. Or the righteous killing of the bad guy, you know? Where it's like, yeah, that bad guy deserves it. And then look at how they're dead. You know, it's it all has an impact because you are seeing another human being similar to you receiving this impact. You know, car crashes. And Sunny brought out that when she kind of caught that, she's like, yeah, I used to watch a lot of Final Destination. And me personally as well, I used to watch that kind of movie as well. Saw that whole type of movie where it is like it builds you up and then impact. And because of the way it's built, the sound, the play with the sound, like left to right, you know, it leaves an impact in your mind. And enough repetition of that, the survival mind doesn't make the difference. And you see, or just, I guess, the brain in general does not necessarily make the difference. Or else you wouldn't be reacting at movies. You'd just be like, oh, it's just a picture. And then you wouldn't be watching it because you're not feeling the adventure. You're not feeling the roller coaster, okay? Yet, that shit has an impact. You know, it stays in the visual memory as a watch out. And it's, again, really fucked up when you think about it. It is not done intentionally. Remember, none of it is really done intentionally. It's not like movie directors and the movie industry is like, yo, we want to fuck people's minds, so let's add that in. No, it is a medium. It is a craft. Those are simply results from that. I won't say side effects because they're literal effects. They're simply results of that. Here's another example. Have you guys ever kind of wondered or had this thought, like, why is it that a lot of people have will kind of bring up, okay, this is the first thing that kind of traumatized me in movie, you know, the horror movie that they watched when they were young that traumatized them. Why is that a common memory? Why is that a much more common topic? Meaning, if it wasn't there, if it didn't have any impact, it wouldn't be spoken about, right? As a mass. But it is. The mind, the young child's mind, and even up to a certain degree, because eventually you do get desensitized to movie reactions after enough movies, but the impact still kind of stays. Still, the young mind doesn't necessarily make the difference. It gets mesmerized by what's in the picture. Oh, we used to be throwing spin kicks back in high school because we were watching Power Ranger. High school, fuck that. Grade school, we were throwing those spin kicks. But there's an influence, and that was kind of harmless. We weren't throwing spin kicks at each other. We were just doing it in the air. But the mind didn't necessarily make much of a difference. It just got influenced. And when the craft developed itself better and better and better, and then having those subtle effects, those very nicely broad effects. I mean, there's a reason, one of the big reasons you'll see me only watching specific kinds of martial art movies, mostly the Hong Kong cinema and Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Donnie Yen type of material, is that the martial art is more of a choreography, a dance, a good synchronization of movement, and it's not the gritty, like, type of stuff, because fuck keeping that in the mind. Fuck keeping that repetition. Is that, especially for the fact that this just comes up in flashes from time to time. And I find it just kind of fascinating as our human, how do you say, human species, human potential, human abilities. Again, results, not side effects, just results. So at the same time, okay, instead of leaving this in doom and gloom, no, it's not doom and gloom. It's just, okay, this is what happened. You can reverse that. You can use a positive, you can kind of twist it in a positive effect or a positive result that you want by simply shifting your attention from that kind of movie, that kind of impact. And, you know, 90% of the movies we watch have the righteous killing of the bad guy or the righteous comeuppance of the bad guy, which also leaves psychological impacts as well. Repeat a certain pattern enough time, You got your lenses, that's it, that's all. You think it's normal, you think it's okay, you think it's average, it's the normalcy to think that way. So that's also another impact, but specifically for those flashes, okay? Because it can get, it's not like it's going to manifest. No, law of attraction, quantum physics doesn't necessarily work like that, but you want to optimize your game. So at this point, fuck it, right? So instead, turn your attention to material, visual material, movies, or even documentaries or whatever that has much more of a connection, compassion, unity, good feeling kind of results. You want to bring your brain up to date on that. You want to fill it with that content, if you know what I mean. Because again, as I keep saying, most of the movies, most of the TV series, 80% of the time, you know, the big part of the show, struggle, 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 drama, 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 death, 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 kill, 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 you know? And then you get the reward of like, ah, yes, accomplishment. Yes, I get the comeback. I get to feel great. And yes, it's done. And then, okay, next episode, go back to that roller coaster, but you're only getting a 20% of that good, great feeling shit, you know? Instead, take it into your own hand. Look for that material directly. Fill your mind, fill your consciousness, fill your vision with that. So that instead of getting the negative flash of the impact, the crash, the violence, the judgment, the hate, you know, you're going to get something much more wholesome. And guess what? You're filling your hard drive with shit that's going to bring you more of that. So, like I always say, and it's been proven, we got science. Don't be selective with your science. Your mood impacts your body. It impacts your cells. It impacts your health. So, be a pro player on that, you know? Just say, okay, well, at this point, if I want to optimize my life, I'm just going to watch that other kind of material more often. It does not mean that you have to completely dismiss and just, again, never go cancel culture. It doesn't work. There is a place for that kind of entertainment. It is just that in your mental diet, you don't necessarily want to keep having the McD. You understand? It's a balance. That's why non-duality type of understanding and speaking, as you saw, it's not one or another. It is just for the objective that you want. You want to optimize your life. Naturally, you want to feel good. Naturally, you want to remove any kind of unneeded stress and anxiety. So optimize, you know? And it's not to shun the other part, and it's not to need them to do anything different. Of course not. People do, what they love. Let them do the craft that they love. You just want to focus 80% more of the time on something that is there to optimize your life. And that's your own individual conscious decision. It cannot be forced on people. That's why cancel culture, the protesting, the bringing it to court, it never worked. Because it's all about having a conscious understanding of what things or how momentum happens in the long run in your own life. Having a bit more mindfulness about your own feelings. You can no longer leave it to the exterior. You know, it is you who's taking it into action and just going, yo, I'm a level grind to optimize my life and have that fun. And I'm not leaving that in anyone else's hands, because it's your preference, your individual. And at the same time, again, you remember the individual granularity of your life brings a unique type of preference, a unique type of what do I prefer, what's really fun for me. So you can't expect anyone else to know that for you. You can't demand it from anyone else. So you got this. You just say, okay, put the foot down, and you go, all right, let's optimize my life. Let's diminish the mental McD, and let's just simply focus, add a bit more of that wholesome shit, add a bit more of those inquiries, add a bit more of that, like, just unity, you know, instead of constantly seeing another character as an enemy, you know, or having that continuously programmed in your mind. Because It's not it's not intentional programming. It just happens. It's just a result. Okay? It's just to say that repetition eventually brings you a lens of perception. That's what I call programming. Okay? But it is not intentional. So take that into consideration and just take some time to think about it and ask yourself, okay, well, what do I really want to feel on a daily basis? Do I want to keep having those visual flash referring to those movies with those nice effect but really gritty shit? Or do I want to have some better flashes, hopeful flashes? More than just hopeful, but you'll see what happens with quantum physics once it takes off. Seriously, play with this shit. You will be amazed with what comes towards your life. But if you're not going to take the step, you ain't going to get the level up. So have that fun, and I am completely humbled and grateful to everyone that will discuss these internal mechanics, their internal visions. Okay, I am completely grateful for that, because early millennials like me, we had to deal with a generation, not their fault, but we had to deal with a generation that couldn't give a fuck about your internal feelings. They would always say, oh, don't make excuses. Oh, it doesn't really matter. Oh, you're just making it up. But that's completely ignoring the logical structure and momentum of a thought and visualization pattern. That's like saying, yo, fuck your context, you're making excuse. And that's like, what? You know, who the fuck are you to say that? It's been a thing that's been going on in media as well, too. And you saw what happened when the internet started, right? Nobody gave a fuck about each other's context. Troll wars, shit posting, and all of that. But then it all comes up to roost. Quantum physics, some people like to say karma's a bitch, but no, karma's fair. It's just what you send out always comes back. We just didn't know in general. So now that we're much more open with our feelings, open internally, we're much more mindful about it. And it's a very interesting paradox, because a lot of us are becoming more mindful about how we feel internally, how our body feels, the reaction between our thoughts, our cells, and even our visualization and all of that. While another part, or another section, is getting distracted with cell phones, with video games, with television, and they are slowly ignoring and not building up their 5 to 6 senses. So oftentimes it'll just pass by, and it's like, okay, well, I got to get my next fix of dopamine. So it's a very interesting time, and we're trying to build bridges. We're literally trying to build bridges at this point, because these kind of flashes, again, Sunny, that was amazing. These kind of flash of insight and just talking about it can kind of get us to intercommunicate and go, oh, me too. Okay, so how do we center where that comes from? Okay, similar factors. There we go. How do we work? How do we flip it? How do we change it? You know, not like the old model where it's like, we found the cause. Blame. Shame, shame, shame. No, that didn't do shit. Waste of time. Partial. But in a sense, it's a bit of a waste of time, because you're just finger pointing. You're not finding solution. Right in and there, it's like, oh, dots connected? Okay, boom, solution, let's go. And then level up. You level up. You keep going. You keep pushing your life. You're optimizing your life in a fun way, not in a dickish way, you know? So I would like more and more people to discuss like that. Hell, just like I mentioned at one point, I met another friend that works at a local cafe, and she was telling me she can feel and sense thought forms around. And this is something that I was like, oh shit, yeah, I get how you do so. I've read certain materials that do so, where people are doing the same or have had the same experience. And even I had to deal with some interesting things in this place, which soon is about to go. So it's a very interesting time. And let's be more and more open about this so that we can share, cooperate, and not say, oh, this is better than that. No. Individual granularity of experience, different senses at different level for different people. So it's all about sharing, co-oping, trying to connect the dots, being inspired, because also met a person that was able to see energy, and I'm like, what do you mean by seeing energy? And as I listened to her more and more, there were certain things that I was perceiving earlier when I was young, but I just ignored it because I didn't necessarily have a background that would foster that. And again, you guys know how I disliked church after a certain incident that happened in my childhood. So I just tossed it all away. But now it's like, oh, whoa, wait, that shit is real. And I'm even playing with energy play too. Like quantum physics, the electromagnetic field. It's like saying, you know, at one point you just kind of want to throw your hands up and go, okay, do your research, but you can't just. And that's a bit of an imbalanced way to say it, because it's like trying to assume, oh, you're going to spend those hundreds of hours listening to audiobooks, checking the materials, testing it out, going to seminars, you know? Can't just say that. But at one point, it's like, well, you got to open your mind and kind of tiptoe, test the waters, you know? And seeing that now we have science to back this up, more and more experiments are being done. Check out the materials by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and even check out the documentary, What the Bleep Do We Know? We have more than enough information to connect the dots. So in a sense, and let me say it in an unbalanced way before I balance it back, if you ain't gonna take 30 fucking minutes or an hour to even do this research, then you can just fall off the ravine at this point. Nobody's going to take your hand to do this for you. Now let me bring this back in a balanced way. I fully fucking understand it. Media is appealing. Yet, what has been said in this video are some of the side effects, direct effects, results of this perpetual watching. So, ask yourself, do you prioritize your life? Do you really prioritize your life as an individual? And I swear to you, it ain't fucking selfish, because as you shine and you're in a much better mood, you radiate towards other people. It's not something that you need to do something for other people. Just you being in that state radiates it towards other people, and you help them indirectly that way. So prioritizing your life is not necessarily a selfish thing. And taking it into account, you know, taking it into your own hands is some of the best things that you can do, because you'll be able to check out multiple materials, connect the dots, and see how it works for you individually. But the whole aspect of, you know, the factory farm school system type of setting, to just say, okay, well, this is the standard, this is how you've got to be, or else you're outside the box, toss that to the side. Never worked. So, let's co-op. Let's have that fun. Let's share that information. Feel free to be more open. If people are going to be judgy and not receptive, that's okay. Let them be, because it's a pattern that's been indoctrinated in society. And there's a breakout point, which is different for each and every individual. So, it's all right. Just find a group, or even do it with yourself. Be more open. Acknowledge what's going on within you. Be more mindful of your day. You remember that exercise, man, at night, daily revisions, because you're going to be able to spot this, and you're going to be able to go, oh, what's up with that? Don't judge yourself. Again, you weren't born with that, so you can't judge it. Or a better definition would be, you weren't born with it. You weren't born with the words, the definitions, and even the concept of judgment. So don't judge yourself for that. It just occurred. Now, what do you want? Fucking having fun, right? Being in that hype, being in that energy, spreading that out, doing what you want to do and doing what you love to do without any kind of negative flash or fear expectation or any kind of judgment expectation. So just take it into your own hand, do it, have that fun, and take that time for yourself, because no one else can do it for you. You got this, all right? Like, share, comment, subscribe. Donate. And you can even donate your own experience, talking about your experience. Hey, this is how we all learn, and we co-op. So, thank you guys. Stay awesome, and keep playing it like a game. Don't force yourself. Just play it like a game. You see, non-duality. There's so many things to kind of keep in mind at the same time. It's not a list of things. It's all of them at the same time, if you understand what I mean. I can make another video about this or try to make some drawings about this if you want. So keep it tight.